Hello, this is Super Comic Girl. I am back with another video. I'm redoing this video review because I did not put spoilers at the beginning of it, and a lot of people, there's Jessie, Gender After Dark, who does a spoiler thing at the beginning before she goes into spoilers. So I'm like, okay, look, I need to start doing that instead of like redoing the video because I forgot to put it in. Yeah. So before I begin, I want to say I did go to the comic book shop yesterday, and I'm actually going to talk about that in the next video. I did not read any of the comics I got last week, so that's why you did not get a comic book review. I was just so busy and I was just so tired that it was like, okay, I go on TikTok and I'll tell you how much I'm tired. I only do like one comic book review. And not even every day. Like, I think I did a comic book review like 2 days ago. But yeah, so, it's one of those things. If I'm not in the mood to do a comic book review, I won't do one. But I will get down to actually reading the comic books from last week, and I will get that comic book review done. So, before I continue, this video will contain spoilers for the third episode of the third season of Star Trek Picard. I believe it's entitled 18 Seconds. Or, yeah, I think about 18 Seconds. And it talks, 18 Seconds actually comes from what Riker was telling Picard about. For 18 seconds in the turbo lift, he thought his son was going to die. Now, Jessie makes a point in her video about the AI, like this, the de-aging thing. I actually noticed it, and it was crap. It was just not good. But she said that a lot of other like movies that do this, they also don't get it right. So it's not Picard. It is the AI technology, and it needs to be improved upon. Though I'm going to say, I am still interested in that one where you take a picture of yourself and then they do the AI make you look like, yeah, I'm very interested in seeing how beautiful can I possibly get? But yeah, so if you have not watched the episode, please don't watch this video. Watch the episode and then come back to the video because I'm gonna have spoilers. So, with that out of the way, let's begin. So, in this episode, we have the Titan doing an old Next Generation maneuver, and that is hiding in a nebula. The nebulas in Picard compared to Next Generation are a lot more violent than they were in the Next Generation. And the reason for this is that the special effects were not really that advanced. I mean, it was enough to make you believe that you were, in the 23rd century or something like the 24th century. So, I don't know. But, you were like, it was very basic, but, it was entertaining at the same time. The special effects now are so different than the special effects in the late 80s, the early 90s, going into like the late 90s. I mean, yeah, the golden era of Star Trek, I think. So the nebula is pretty violent, and it's not a friendly place to hide your ship. It's actually like a living being, so to speak. And so you have them hiding, and normally the nebula would do a great job in hiding, but if there's something that's going on, then it's easier for the prey to be caught. And we find out that there is a reason. I'll get to that in a little bit. I absolutely loved the dialogue between Beverly and Jean-Luc. We also find out that they actually decided to have a physical relationship um, while Beverly was on the Enterprise E. And they went they went on shore leave, and they had this moment in the waterfalls, which I am going to say has got to be the sexiest place to have sex. It is, even without that element, waterfalls are so beautiful. Um, when I was up in Massachusetts and we would like walk this certain way, they had like the man-made waterfall that would like come down from the hydraulic, and it was so beautiful to watch all that water come down. And it's just like, you have the flowers and the birds, and hopefully none of them shit on you. But the waterfall is always this beautiful kind of natural phenomenon. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And if you ever see video of waterfalls, you'll get that these are just beautiful natural phenomena, and they're easily to, hide. There was a story I read on fan fiction where they did what they did inside of a waterfall. But it was actually a very beautiful, very like elemental type of thing. But waterfalls in general are absolutely gorgeous. So Beverly at first wanted to tell Jean-Luc that she was pregnant, but then all these things happened. And finally she decided it ain't worth it. But Picard is very angry. It's like, okay, look, I understand that, I made it clear that I don't like children and all this. And, he doesn't deny that he at first was very much against children. There's no way he can deny that. There's no way he can go, oh yeah, you must not have, understood me. I love children. No, he never denied it. And so, he gets very upset with her because, she uses the fact that, she knew about, oh, I didn't want to be like my father. He got very upset about, which is understandable. Though he turns around and he kind of does the same thing later on in the episode to Will, which I thought was a dick move. It's like, yeah, you just said you didn't like that, and then you turned around and did that to Will. What the fuck is your issue? Stop saying you're against it and then you do it. But we find out that, of course, Beverly told Jack about his father. And he went to London and he studied. He was in school in London because, you gotta go to school. You might be the captain's kid, but you still gotta go to school. And Jack decided that Jack decided that he did not want to have any contact with his father. And hopefully, as we progress on in this relationship, that we find out, Jack's feelings about this. But yeah, so it's a really interesting thing. The crew is very distrustful of Jack because they view Jack and Beverly as the reason that they're looking through the windows. I mean, literally, they have no sensors at all. So they have to go to like 19th, 18th century thing by looking through the windows. Which I think that's probably why the Titan has windows. I actually think that is the reason that they have windows. Which is great because you can actually look through them and you can see if there's something coming at you. So it's replacing, computerized sensors with like more humans like eyesight. And it's amazing. This one, I don't know if it was an ensign or a lieutenant or something like that. She's able to give coordinates just by looking, and I'm like, dang. Please give her a damn promotion, please. That was awesome. But Shaw gets hurt, and instead of handing over command to Seven, he hands over command to Will. because he's an asshole, and that's what you do to assholes. That's what assholes do. Assholes decide, I got a first officer, but I can't fucking stand her, so I'm just going to give it to Will. And what this actually does is it causes a switch to flip, and Will becomes the captain. He's not, he's now he has responsibility of all of these people. It's not just, he's a visitor and all this stuff. He's now the captain of the Titan A, and his job is to try to get his ship, out of that nebula and away from the Shrike, because they got to get to a starbase to get repaired, and they can't do it with the Shrike there. The thing about it is that they do it's interesting. They launch a photon torpedo, and then they use the phasers to make the photon torpedo explode, and it blasts the Shrike away. You would think, oh wow, the Shrike's been destroyed. No, they really have to just make us feel like, yes, it's been destroyed, and then, oh Lord, here it is again. It's like a virus. It's like a bad date that just still wants to hang around. It's just bad. But yeah, it's like a bad date. So Jack, when Shaw is being treated, and his mother's like, sometimes the scans can't pick it up, and she's like, good old-fashioned touching, and that's how they find out that Shaw is bleeding internally. So he's noticing like this trail of blood, and he gets this little eureka moment that I really like, and that's why Jack does it better in the whole figuring things out than his father does. Is he's figuring out, okay, there's a reason why the Shrike's able to find them, and he believes that their engines are leaking something out into space, allowing the Shrike to find them, because the nebula, you're not supposed to find anything nebulous. Why nebulas are not a great place to be traveling, because there might be a ship in the distance. And so he tries to go to the bridge to let Will know that they're leaking this element, and the guy basically says, I'm under the captain's orders, you're not allowed on the bridge. So he decides to go to the one person that he knows has the authority to get into like the restricted areas of the ship, and that happens to be Seven. And speaking of Seven, I really like the interaction between LaForge and Seven. She calls her Seven. She doesn't call her Annika. She calls her Seven. And that really gains the respect, because that's important. You always have to get the respect of your commander, because that person may end up in some weird twist of fate, might end up becoming your captain. And and it also shows the respect that LaForge has for Seven, that we're both misfits, and because everyone thought, oh yeah, she's going to be an engineer, and she just becomes a pilot. And people kind of were disappointed that she did not take over for her father, not did what her father was doing. So Jack comes, and Jack tells Seven, hey look, I believe that we're leaking something, and that's how the Shrike is being able to find us. So he punches the guard in the face. Yes, I wanted Jack to punch somebody in the face, and he actually did. And sure enough, it's discovered, yes, there is this leak. We also find out that changelings are in this episode. Like, oh my freaking god, changelings are in this episode. We haven't seen changelings since DS9. And we find out that apparently Odo, who we know the actor is dead, but the character is not. We find that Odo has been telling Worf about this faction that has splintered, and Rafi only heard about changelings. I don't know if she ever encountered them, but Worf did, because of course his friend was Odo. and he was involved in Dominion War and all this type of stuff. And we find out that when the Dominion War was over, the changelings had to stop fighting. Well, apparently there was a Starfleet virus. I did not know this. I did not know about a Starfleet virus. I honestly did not know about this, because I have not watched every single episode of DS9, just my favorite ones. And so apparently this sect broke off, and now they're targeting Starfleet. They're targeting the Federation, because the Federation did this and they lost the war. So you got to put these masks. I really like the masks that they have, to ensure that you don't die. And I don't know when those were created, but I thought they were really cool. And basically, Seven has to leave to do some kind of procedure, because she was on Voyager, so she knows all about Starfleet, engines and all that type of stuff. And during this time, he gets attacked by... Now, way back in episode number 1, when Riker and Picard were pretending to do inspection, they had that guy that was like this. He's a fucking changeling. He kicks Jack's ass. And then he rips off the mask and kicks his ass. And, Jack's on the verge of death. And there's Seven. And, and there's these vines and all this type of stuff. And literally, he almost dies. And for 18 seconds, Picard is in that turbolift. And it goes back to the 18 seconds that Riker talked about. And for 18 seconds, Picard has no idea, is his son going to live? And so he immediately starts having that kind of emotional connection with Jack, and everything. And I thought the emotion of it was really done very well, and I really liked the whole thing. So going a little bit to Worf, we find out that the portal gun was actually used to hide another thing that was stolen, something that has a lot more deadlier than I think a portal gun. It's always like we're going to commit this crime to hide the main crime that we're committing and all that. So we're seeing, there's that, we stole something a lot more dangerous than a portal gun. And speaking of that portal gun, so Picard is all about engaging and attacking the enemy. This is kind of tells you that Picard kind of doesn't understand that technology has changed, especially that particular thing. And we find that when Riker finally agrees to fire at the Shrike, they use the portal gun to make all those weapons they just fired come right back at them. And I'm going to say something. The portal gun has the ability to suck a ship in through, and they appear on the other side. So basically, the Shrike is determined that the Titan is never, ever going to be able to leave. So of course, once it gets hit, Riker immediately blames Picard for it, because it actually is his fault. He's the one who recommended it. But he does something that Beverly did, and he just decides, I'm just going to remind you of your loss, which, so you basically did what Beverly did, which is why you're so good for each other, because you both do the same exact thing. Picard told Beverly about his father. Beverly used that as an excuse to do what she did. Picard knows about Riker's loss of Thaddeus and uses that against Riker, which pisses the fuck out of Riker, and he basically tells Picard, get the hell off my bridge, which is not something that Pike would have done, because in Strange New Worlds, Pike is like, okay, look, and Jesse brings that up, that Pike knows that he has to be a captain despite, all that stuff going on inside of him, which, I did not watch all of Strange New Worlds. I did not watch all of it because I didn't like it. I just didn't have the time. I will go back to watching it, and then when season 2 appears, I will go ahead and watch that and do reviews of that one as well. But, yeah. So Picard is driven by a lot more than he did starting out. He's driven by the fact that he's got a son, and that he is absolutely worried that, and I think the back of his mind is thinking, I do not want to go through what Kirk went through. But I think that Jack does a really great job in figuring out why or how the Shrike is able to find them. And as they're going into the well where there is no return except nothing, it just cuts. So anyways, so I did not watch the Ready Room. I kind of skipped the whole thing to like the kind of like teaser trailer for the 4th episode, and there is a light, and I'm thinking, okay, is that the Shrike, or was there another ship in the vicinity of the Titan? And there could be 2 things, okay? There could be that this is a Federation ship, and there's somebody on board that really wants to talk to someone, because in one of the images, or one of the scenes we get from Picard, Deanna is having basically a kind of a bitchy moment. And you know that they survived the well because that moment would have never happened. So if it's the Shrike, why in the world is she risking the safety of her ship to go after Jack Crusher? Because it's going into a gravity well. Or is this a Federation ship that knows it can survive the gravity well and is coming to the aid of the Titan to basically get all their asses off? It's going to be interesting to see where the light is coming from. If it is a ship with Deanna, she didn't come to save their lives. She came to hash it out with her husband. But somehow the 500 crew members have to come along for this bit of drama, and I bet Jack's will be like, remind me never to get married. That's what happens. But it's really interesting to see where the light is coming from. Like I said, I don't know if it's the Shrike. If it's the Shrike, I'm pretty sure that she's not there to aid the Titan. If it's a Federation ship, I really hope and pray it's... I have been hearing rumors that we're having another Enterprise. I hope that rumor's true, and that is the Enterprise. If it is, which Enterprise is it? That is if that is the Enterprise. If it isn't the Enterprise and it's another ship, it either has Geordi on board or has Deanna on board. And if it has Deanna on board, yeah, she's gonna save your asses just so that she can rip into Riker's ass. You know, how is Deanna going to respond to the fact that Picard has a son? And speaking of Riker and Jack, I got a kick out of Riker just studying him, and he's not used to this. He is not used to being the subject, because everybody on the ship knows this is Picard's kid. And they're all looking at him. Either they don't like the fact is that this is how they found out, and Riker's like, just looking at him and just smiling because it's like, oh, finally Picard is going to realize what it means to be a dad. But yeah, so from the time that Riker basically tells him, get off my bridge and see your son, it takes 18 seconds for that turbolift to go from the bridge to sickbay. And for 18 seconds, Picard has no idea if his son is going to live or going to die. And thankfully for everyone, Jack survives it. So, and that's how, before he passes out, he tells Seven that there's a changeling on board. And we all know in like the DS9, the show DS9, there was a lot of what do they call it? I forgot what they call it. Where you are like worrying if the person next to you is doing something illegal or immoral. Like doing witchcraft or something. What was it? I forgot what they call it. But it was this, kind of like this, where are the changelings? What are they doing and stuff? And there was a lot of fear of like the changelings like taking over Starfleet and everything. I really like Michael Dorn in this episode as Worf. I mean, it was so nice to see Michael Dorn as Worf again. I missed him so much. Though I will say this, he played a great Sandman in the Santa Claus 2. He was just such a gem to watch as the Sandman. But just to see him as Worf, I mean, he has aged so well as an actor. And I just love his portrayal of Worf. And so they're partners now. And so it makes me more excited about the Raffi, storyline and everything. But what did they steal from the Daystrom Institute? Now, the Daystrom Institute, they were really big on like cybernetic. And they wanted to study data and everything. So what exactly did they steal? What were they using one crime to cover up another crime? And it's really interesting to try to figure out exactly what they were like stealing, and so we know Laura appears in this season, which I think is really cool. I know that we were told, I'm not going to come back playing Data, but he didn't say anything about not playing Lord. So he does come back as playing Lord. And Lord, of course, if that's who they stole, Lord's got a lot of anger, and I'm kind of interested to see exactly why he's angry at, especially at like Geordi. Because Laura and Geordi meet, and he does not look at Geordi, with this kind of this psychotic look. He's kind of more like anger. So hopefully we'll find out why. Hopefully Laura will explain why he is like he is. Let me see. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. I do want to say that Shaw not handing command over to Seven was the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Yes, Will is a captain, but if you look at the Stargazer, when the captain died or the captain became unable to command, Picard automatically became the captain. No, let's just ignore that Seven is there. We're just going to give it to Will. And I think another reason that he did that, and I think this is a really shows how much of an asshole that Shaw actually is that, oh, you're the one who did this, So guess what? You're going to be the one who's going to be responsible for all of these lives. Now, if he had actually blamed the first person, and said, okay, look, yeah, Seven is the reason that you two were able to get over here. I'm going to make her captain. Then probably what would have happened is things probably would have been a whole lot more different. She definitely would not have allowed Picard to convince her to fire, knowing perfectly well that portal gun probably has a lot more abilities. And the thing about it is that the Titan crew has no idea about the Daystrom attack. And so they have no idea what this portal gun can actually do. And yeah, so hopefully next week we'll find out where the light's coming from. Hopefully it's another Federation ship. I will literally be laughing my ass off if it is Deanna. Be like, yeah, honey, I'm here to save your ass. And that guy, too. I would love her to say, I'm here to save your ass. Because I literally would be rolling over on the floor laughing my ass off. Just, yeah. So we'll find out who it is. We'll find out if it's because I kind of feel it's not the Shrike, because the Shrike went off because, yeah, it's going near the inner gravity well. I don't really think the Shrike will stick around for that. But I think that if it isn't the Shrike, I think that they, like, moved on because to the captain, Jack is gone. There's no bounty, so there's no reason to stick around. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm so glad they brought changelings back. It is so awesome to see them use an enemy that they had forgotten about. They totally, in the little small description on the Paramount Plus thing on Amazon, it says enemy that Starfleet has forgotten about. And one of the things, you never forget your enemies. Never forget them. Because they will pop up when you least expect it. But overall, it was a really great episode. I just love the acting, and oh my lord, it's so good. I am going to actually say this season is actually turning out to be a lot better than the first 2 seasons of Picard. Not that I didn't enjoy them, I really did, but this one is so good. But I will agree with Jesse's complaint about the ending of that episode, Riker kicking Picard off the bridge. And if he was like an admiral that had an office, I don't think Riker would have done it, but he was mad at Picard for that asshole move that he did. And yeah, it's just, there is that, there is that respect between the two, but the moment that you fuck up on board my bridge, is the moment that, we sort of leave our friendship behind for a while. But I don't think that their friendship is damaged. I just think that, Riker knows that Picard's emotions are like, he's trying to save his son, and he knows that. But Riker also understands that, yes, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And the needs of the many is to get the fuck out of there. So I think Riker was a lot more like, it's really weird. It's like Riker tried his way and it didn't work. Picard tried it his way, it didn't work. Nothing works. Except maybe that light is going to work. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's, but the bomb going off, I mean, this changeling used a fucking bomb at, like, oh my god. But anyways, so overall, enjoyed the episode. It was really, really awesome. love, you know, Seven of Nine and Picard and Riker and all those people, those wonderful characters. Jack definitely does have a lot more, you know, up there in the brain. And he also has a great bedside manner. Yes, unlike you, Doctor, from Voyager, just has a great bedside manner. And he definitely gets that from his mother. Not from his father. He gets that from his mother. So, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video review of the season of episode 3 of season 3 of Picard. I give it 5 glorious stars. There's a lot of people that really thought that this was not going to be a good season, and so far it has come through so beautifully. So my next video is going to be showing you guys the comic books that I had posted on TikTok, and yeah, so I'll see you guys around. Bye.